Yes, good people. Big up to all of you and welcome back to Chelsea Perspective. I do hope you're all doing well. Thank you so much for finding the time to be with me this particular morning for another edition of the Blue Morning Show. We did such, took our time to look for what's going on out there with regards to transfer reports aligned with our beloved club, Chelsea Football Club. We did find a few, nothing new there, things we already know about that still could happen in January. But more importantly, I do hope you're all doing well. I appreciate you all finding the time to join the show this particular morning once again. And as usual, without wasting much of your time, it's important we keep it our tradition here. It's our tradition here to keep to always carry those in the chat along. The first person we have here is this praise God, Jerry. Nice to see you. I do hope you're doing well, Jerry. Thank you so much for joining. And as I've told you before, you're not allowed to use all caps except if you're a moderator. Yeah, you're sticking with three emojis at most. And listen, you should know that Nightbot is a machine. It's not a human being, so you don't start a fight with him. But nice to see you, Jerry, and press God too. And Wycliffe Barrosh, big up. Coach Osimhen is best suited for Chelsea Football Club. We'll talk about that in a bit. Wycliffe, Jerry, nice to see you. And we have here Ish H. We don't need any of them. Let Jackson cook his. He's getting better and better. We'll talk about that in a bit. So we'll talk about Viktor Osimhen. Viktor Gyökeres is asking price, and the report that Chelsea are still interested in signing Jhon Durán. But more importantly, I do hope you're all doing well, and thank you so much for finding the time to be with me this particular morning. We start without wasting much of your time. We'll discuss the first item here. This one here talks about Viktor Osimhen. It says that Chelsea are still interested in Viktor Osimhen. We still have to wait until January to see the developments. And it's something I saw that Bucci talked about on his Twitter feed yesterday. Neil Ghana, nice to see you, Neil. Neil Ghana, thank you so much for finding the time to be with us. I do hope you're doing well. I appreciate you. Let's hear your thoughts on whether you'd like Chelsea Football Club to go for Victor Osimhen. You've heard Wycliffe Barrosh is saying that Osimhen would be suitable for Enzo Maresca's approach to football. And who's the other one? And the Ish is saying we don't need them. And I think we don't need them too. And we'll get into that in a bit. So Bucci saying something to the effect that we're already reaching out to Osimhen's camp to see if we can find an agreement before January. So he joins us when we get to January. But he also did say that Osimhen's camp they're not interested in Osimhen joining Chelsea in January. That he's going to finish the season at what's it called again? Galatasaray. Is that where he is? Galatasaray. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. And I have my Neil. Thank you so much for joining. I have my bro Vic. Vic is in the house. Vic, let's get your take on Victor Osimhen. Did you hear anything else other than what I've said so far? I don't know. For me, I'd say we don't need them. I've been saying this even before we hired even before what's his name Enzo Maresca started work as Chelsea manager. And you'd think that after seeing his approach up close, a lot of people will realize that Osimhen isn't will not be a good fit for the manager's approach. And that's just my opinion anyway. But let's hear your thoughts. Do you still want Chelsea Football Club to sign Victor Osimhen? I'd say no, and I'll explain why. Not multitude of reasons, but let's start by one. Let's talk about this. The manager's approach, a very, very fluid approach. If you've been paying attention, the manager uses a very fluid approach. And if you're playing, whether you're playing as a number nine or whether you're playing on either flanks as left wing, right wing, or even a 10, you're not static in that position. Sometimes you go to the number nine position, you go to either of the flanks. And Osimhen, for me, I think Nicholas Jackson, irrespective of the fact we know clearly he's not shown that he can be efficient, and more importantly, consistently in front of goal. I think he's a perfect Enzo Maresca as a kind of number nine. Hopefully, after saying that, hopefully he improves his efficiency in front of goal and perform consistently and not just perform every other game. then he's the perfect type of number nine for Enzo Maresca than Victor Osimhen. Osimhen isn't. As much as I like him, I followed him since he's under 19 or 17 days. I'm not saying he's not technically gifted. He is, but uh, to be Enzo Maresca's number nine, you just have to be able to do a lot more. You'd have to be able to operate on the flanks essentially as a 10 in a very fluid approach, but he's not that guy. You'd have to be able to drop deep and participate in the play, create chances for your teammates. You don't have to be the focal point, if that makes sense. Osimhen's case, I think he thrives when he is the focal point, when he thrives in a team where once they get to the final third, uh, the aim will be to find them in most cases. I'm not saying 100% of the time. And here's my point here. He's played like that for a long time now, and that's a different factor altogether. Then let's talk about how, if he comes to Chelsea and after we pay that much money for him, I'm saying I'm guessing north of 60, 70 million pounds. If we pay that much money for him, he joins the Chelsea Football Club. Chelsea fans they'd expect him to score at least 20 goals per season. They're not going to even consider the fact that the approach differs. They're not going to even consider the fact that this is not a case. He's not. We don't play with an approach where the case is every time we get to the final third, we channel all our goal scoring chances through a single individual. We don't play like that. I'm not sure how else to explain this for people to understand. Chelsea fans are not going to consider that. Once he finishes the season and it's not anywhere close to his best season at Napoli, they would turn on him, not considering the way the manager approaches the game. They don't care. They know how much we paid for him. They want him to be finishing the season 20, 30 goals, or at least let's say at least 20 goals. Then they don't even care whether we end the season well enough to win a trophy or so. Whether Cole Palmer is the one that scored 20 plus, Nicholas Jackson gets 15. If Osimhen gets anything not close to that, they still turn on him. So it just doesn't make sense. And you don't pay that much money for a player that would sign him, and then he ends up becoming being you can say we only get to use him in certain games and not every game. It just doesn't make sense, or not majority of our games. But I want to get your thoughts. Do you want Chelsea Football Club to go for Victor Osimhen? I'd say no, for reasons I've explained it 1,000 times, but that's just my opinion. Chances are we get him in January, and yeah, he will turn out to be one of the best decisions we've made since the owners took over the club. If that makes sense. But let's see what else we have here. Keep dropping the likes on the stream. The likes to go along with Osimhen will be a great asset. I cannot trust Jackson in in real clutch moments. But Jackson does a lot more than the manager wants. And the manager's belief, from what I'm seeing, is that Jackson will get there in terms of being efficient in front of goal consistently, week in, week out, and not just do well every other do well in a particular game and then fluff his chances in the next one. So I think the manager here has strong belief in Jackson from what we're seeing, because when we expected him to drop him from Nkunku should start, he didn't do that. But he did send him a message, though, in my opinion. But thank you for that, Abhishek. Thank you for that message there. We have a Sanchez problem, do we? I would just say that right now, because I'm quite sure. Even if you didn't, you probably before that game believed he's the real deal, given how well he'd done. Yeah. Look at the game against Bournemouth. We could have lost that game by 3 goals to 1. Even in the same game that he made those mistakes, 2 mistakes maybe. But if you're going to count the first one, you have to start from Caicedo, the back pass to Levi Kowa. A whole lot of people were involved in that very first mistake. But here's the thing: what I want to say is this: if we're being honest, I don't think the manager drops him because of that, except if he starts making those mistakes consistently. These things happen. Even Manuel Neuer at his peak made a lot of mistakes as a goalkeeper. Yeah. What's his name? Also, Ederson. You've seen a few from him. We've seen also a whole lot from what's his name? The Liverpool goalkeeper, Allison, the one he tried to dribble Kelechi Iheanacho, and that's just one that I remember. So these things do happen. Except if he starts uh, making mistakes week in week out, then the manager he'd have no option than to drop him. We have a capable hand in waiting that can come in and do an equally good job of, if you may, probably or maybe an even better job. But right now, Sanchez for me, he's been perfect. I don't think the manager drops him because of that. More importantly, we won, and like he said, we're humans. We do make mistakes. Last time I saved the team, something to that effect, but this time my teammate saved us. If you paid attention to what he said after the game. But nice to see you, bro. I do hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for finding the time to join us. Brother Pisirius, he will be great for Chelsea. Who will be great? No, I'm just telling you, look beyond his ability. Take a step back and see how we play. I think you've seen Enzo Maresca's approach up close right now. Tell yourself the truth. Will Osimhen be a good fit? Listen, he can, but that would mean the manager changing his approach. It's not going to be as fluid as it's been since the start of the season. Things would have to change, tweak things around to accommodate Osimhen. Either that happens or the manager just plays him anyway until he gets used to it. And I don't think we have the luxury to do that. And let's see what happens. I'm not saying for certain, I'm not saying he's going to fail. I'm saying, look, the fans would definitely turn on him. We don't play in a manner that when we get to the final third, we channel all our goal scoring chances through a single individual. That's not that's not how we play. And we have a lot of players who can actually fulfill the number 9 role in the manner that the manager prefers. João Felix can do that. Christopher Nkunku, if you ask him, he'd tell you he's a number 9, and I think he is. But given his skill set, a lot of people see him playing a bit deeper than in the number 9 position. Cole Palmer also can also fulfill that role, and you've heard the manager himself say that. So I'm not saying Osimhen is a bad player. I'm just saying, and let me say this: if we had Jose Mourinho as our manager, and I believe this is I'm saying this for 1,000 times right now, I'd say bring Osimhen. He'd make him the best striker in the world, in the whole world, if that makes sense. But despite it, nice to see you, Abhishek. Thank you so much. We need to work on our defending. I think that will come. I think the pairing is where I believe the issue lies. When we have Levi Colwell and what's his name and Wesley Fofana, they do well. They do really, really well without pressure. But once we face consistent pressure from the opponent, they start panicking. Or once we concede a single goal, they start panicking. Which is why I've been preaching for the pairing of Osimhen, whoever you of Tosin, and whoever you want to pair with Tosin, that's fine by me because Tosin he brings that cool-headedness, and irrespective of how much pressure we are on, he'd still be calm, he'd still lead effectively, and we're not going to panic and concede unnecessary goals, if that makes sense. But Chama, nice to see you, Chama. I appreciate you finding the time to join the show this particular morning. I do hope you're doing well. I'm going to scroll to the very bottom and then I'll get Tobeho in. He's joined us. And let me say this quickly. I've also talked about what Bucci, the guy that was, you can say, the most correct. Everything that happened with Osimhen during the summer, he speaks with the guy directly. I think he's his photographer for the Nigerian Super Eagles. He did say that we reached out to Osimhen's camp with the intent of getting him through the door in January, but they want Osimhen to finish the season at Galatasaray, if that makes sense. Vic is here. Osimhen isn't coming to Chelsea, and I believe that's the case too. I don't know why Fabrizio is saying that Chelsea are still interested in Victor Osimhen. We will have to wait until January to see the development, but let's see what happens there. But Vic, thank you for that update. No, we don't want. I don't. Yeah, exactly. We don't want him. It just doesn't make sense. It would be waste of money if we're buying him to use him in certain
for yourself.
yeah. But go ahead. Let's hear you. Let's hear you, Tobeho. Let me just. I've been
Yeah,
speaking for.
I don't want to use the word we anymore because everyone got his opinion. So when you
Mhm.
say we don't want Victor Osimhen, but again, what about the club? Does the club want Victor Osimhen? So that's the other thing. As much as Chelsea fans saying, "Oh, Nicholas Jackson is doing much better than Victor Osimhen,"
Mhm.
we can all agree and disagree. But using the word we, I think for now is impossible because even Joe B. Michael said it that all parties tried to make the deal happen, but again, what they did, they agreed that they're going to return to this deal maybe in January or the end of the season. So I'm not saying that I want Victor Osimhen, but coach, you know my thoughts about
But
Victor
will it make
Osimhen.
sense? Let's be real here. Will it make sense? I think it doesn't. He's not that guy. He's not that guy. He's a good footballer. He's an excellent traditional number nine. We've seen a lot of people I don't seem to learn. I don't want another Lukaku Chelsea mistake. Except I'm not saying there's a chance there's a chance he's willing to tweak his approach to accommodate the striker as Osimhen, which would do very well in the Premier League because he's powerful, he's quick, aerially he's excellent. But if the manager, I get it, we've seen up close that actually the manager he's very dynamic in terms of his approach. He tweaks things, doesn't he's not bent on using a particular way. He changes things around that is based on the opponent we're playing against. The question now is being truthful to yourself. If we're going by the manager's preferred approach as we've seen up close, do you think Osimhen is a good fit? I'd say no, for reasons I've explained. And if the plan is to sign him, to use him in certain games, it just wouldn't make sense. It just wouldn't make sense to pay that much money for him. If the plan is again, and if the plan is to continue playing the way we play, he's not going to score as many goals as he scored in his best season at Napoli, and then the fans would turn on him, bearing in mind how much we paid for him and the expectation. And
Yeah,
probably I think probably he probably knows that himself. But let's see what happens. Go ahead with what you were saying.
yeah, I understand your opinion. For example, let us look at Manchester City. Now all the goals are going to Erling Haaland. So there's no more players sharing goals. Everything they do it for Erling Haaland. Which is the issue at Manchester City at the moment. Because as much as Foden was providing goals last season, this season we don't see enough from other players. Just Haaland, 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 Haaland. That's it. And you
And if
complaining
you
about
mark him out, they're practically done.
exactly. If you look at Newcastle, what they did against Manchester City, they marked Haaland. Manchester City was done. So overall, I understand your opinion, but again, I don't like I said I don't want to use the word we because as much as most of Chelsea fans doesn't want him, but others want him. Let's see what the club does, right? So that's my opinion.
Yeah, let's see what the club does. I doubt he'd want to come to Chelsea. I think probably he'll end up in Saudi Arabia. And I'm going to say this: I may be alone in in that camp, but I'm still going to say I don't believe for one second Osimhen wanted to come to Chelsea, irrespective of what anybody tells me. I'm still going to say it. It's my opinion. I wasn't there, but we don't have to agree. We can agree to disagree. I've said this before. He was trying to use us to get a good deal from the Saudis, and then it backfired spectacularly. And if you argue otherwise, I'd ask you, why did he give him demands? Why did he give him demands in the first place? That he wants to buy a clause, a release clause in his contract, should he join them? Why did we hear that the Saudis went back with his and met his demands? And then I get it. De Laurentiis himself, we learned wanted more money from the Saudis too. So the deal did fall through for multitude of reasons, not just because my belief that Osimhen really didn't want to come to us. He wanted to go to Saudi Arabia. That's my opinion anyway. I did not believe for one second he wanted to come to Chelsea at the time. Wanted more money from the Saudis, and it backfired spectacularly. And just that's just my opinion. But keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. 11 likes, we can do a lot better. And if you're watching the show on a small device, press and hold your screen for a few seconds, and then you'd see the option to like, dislike, or comment on the video. Would really appreciate that from you. Thank you so much. And Rain is in the house. I get to you, Rain. Wycliffe Barrish is saying uh, Victor Osimhen's pace, pressing ability, and a lethal finishing makes him good enough to score 20 goals per season. And here's the thing: I'm going to say this, like Tabeho, he's explained that perfectly, and that's actually not a new issue for Manchester City. But I'm glad my bro here, whose football knowledge is excellent, has brought that up. When you do this is the same mistake we made We won the Champions League. I get it. We missed quite a lot of chances under Thomas Tuchel that season that we won the Champions League. You could argue, had we been more clinical, maybe that same season we could have won the league also. But here's what happened. Some people thought about it and agreed. Oh, whoa, geez, you know what? Yeah, we had multiple individuals miss chances last season. Let's get a single individual to be the one to be the solution to solving the chances that multiple individuals missed the passes, and then we signed Lukaku. And when we signed Lukaku, whether by design, I don't know. Whether it's a whether it was a subconscious thing at the time, I don't know. But what happened was that whenever he was on the pitch, it just seemed as if whenever our midfielders, wingers, whenever they are on the ball, they it just seemed as if the aim was to just to find Lukaku in the box. And we started at the time we started scoring less and less goals until he got injured, and in his absence, we started scoring more goals. But yet, people don't learn. You get it. We still, even if Jackson is missing a few, I'm not saying Jackson is a solution. Even if we need our number 9, Osimhen is not the profile we need. It will create more headache for the manager than a solution. And I'm not saying he's a bad player, if you get what I'm saying. You don't want to build a team where every time we get into, closer to the final third, we'll be channeling all our goal scoring chances through a single individual. And once that person is marked out of the game, we're done. But people
And
don't pay attention to that. They just want Osimhen because he's a good player. And I remember a lot of people that were praying Lukaku to come, singing, praying, yeah, that's it. We solved all our problems. And thank goodness I have the videos, 2 interviews, one with Ishan Buhadra, one with HH, where I told them, look how Thomas Tuchel plays. Does it make sense to sign Lukaku for him? It was later on that we learned he didn't really want Lukaku. He wanted another player, but the club wanted Lukaku. But I still ask question, why did he agree to it, to the signing of Lukaku? So I still blame him. Had he said no, I don't think the club would force Lukaku on him, especially after winning the Champions League. They'd listen to him and try to get him the player he wanted. But he agreed to it, which means he believed he could make it work until they started asking him the question of building the team around Lukaku. That's what he needs to do for Lukaku to do well. And he said blatantly, no, I'm not doing that. So it's not about how good the player is. Two things have to fall into place for a player to do well, or one of the other. If they both fall into place, fine. If the player can adapt and the manager is willing to tweak things to accommodate the player, it makes it easier. But in most cases, it is the player that has to adapt to his team, to his current environment, to the way the manager likes to approach the game for things to work. Or sometimes it has to be the manager that will build the team around a single individual for that a single individual to be as successful as he was in his previous club that led to the club signing him. To replicate his former adapt as his former club, you'd have to do a certain things. And in Osimhen's case, if we sign him, we're begging for trouble here. It looks like just seemed for me we didn't learn anything from the Lukaku situation. Tabeo, you wanted to say something?
yeah, in a simple way to explain to our Chelsea fans that we need a mobile striker, just like Lautaro that Martinez, for example, not Victor Osimhen, who plays a same way rather than being versatile. So all we can say, we need a mobile striker. I know for now Nicolas Jackson is not the solution. Hopefully he improves and show Enzo Maresca and the recruitment team that he deserves to be Chelsea number 9. But if you have the similar seasons like last season, I think Chelsea will go for number 9. But I don't think in January, to be honest. Let's give
I don't see. Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Let's give Jackson another full season. As much as some of Chelsea fans don't like it, even me, I said it, we should have signed another striker. But again, now is another opportunity for Jackson to show the club that he deserves to be the main man. So let's see what will happen.
Let me tell you this, Sabeho. The way we're playing, and especially up close, we're seeing Enzo Maresca's approach up close, right? Let's say Cole Palmer finishes with 20 goals, right? Jadon Sancho gets like 5-3. Who else is there? whereas right wing Pedro Neto gets like 5'7". I don't think anybody will, because if Jackson misses, let's say 300, and he ends his season with 12, I don't think anybody will, because of that, go for a striker. No, they will still give him chance, because they would not even give him chance. They will still, the club can continue like that and not have a problem. In all honesty, that's because the goals can come from everywhere. We don't have it. We don't play with like after we don't at front three. They don't operate in a traditional manner. It's not like a number nine states start taking the middle area, and then those are on either flanks, and then a bit deeper, like in the number 10 position. Their job is just to create chance for the number nine. No, the way we operate, we create chance for whoever makes the good, makes the decisive run at any given point. Sometimes it can be Cole Palmer, it can be Noni Mudryk, it can be Pedro Neto, it can be what's his name, Jadon Sancho. We don't play in a manner. I'm going to repeat it again, just to use the same simple terms as possible. We don't want. We don't play in a manner where every time we get closer to the box, we try to find a number nine in the box. We don't play like that. Our approach is so fluid that it doesn't matter if Jackson misses 20 goals per game. Hopefully he gets there. I get it. It can be frustrating to see him be one of the best strikers in world football today, and then the next one, you'd be asking why isn't he playing in Division 3? And he does every other thing that the manager appreciates very well. It's just to be efficient in front of goal and do that consistently. And I have strong belief that he'd get there. I don't see us going for a striker and then go for a striker that's again in Osimhen's profile. It just doesn't make sense for a multitude of reasons. That's not me saying the manager, again, the manager may well decide, yeah, he wants a stereotypical number nine, gets that stereotypical number nine, plays him in certain games and not every game. But I don't see a world where we pay that much money and that would be the case. That's just my opinion anyway. And Wycliffe Barros, thank you for that. And big up Rain. Rain is in the house. Nice to see you, Rain. I appreciate you finding the time to join. Bro, Osimhen is elite, but it's not must buy, in my opinion. That's another way to put it. Remember, I haven't said he's a bad player. His profile is where my questions lie. You understand? Whether he fits the manager's approach, we've seen the approach up close. We've seen how fluid it can be, or liquid if you prefer. We don't need a traditional number nine. And let's be honest here, Osimhen himself will get frustrated if it comes to Chelsea and is expected to not always be in the box. To in most cases, switch to the flanks, drop deep, be the creator, because he would want to finish the season to replicate his best season at Napoli. Tobias, can you tell me the truth? Do you think he'd come to Chelsea and be content with dropping deep, going switching to the flanks, and not be the guy that's, you could say, that everyone else creates the chances for in majority of the times? Do you think he'd be content with that? I'd say no, because if with that approach, he's not going to be able to replicate his best form at Napoli. But let's hear you.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. Victor Osimhen doesn't need to go in the flanks and everything, because we're going to use so much energy in him, and then he will struggle scoring goals. So Victor Osimhen, he prefers to play more centrally, as much as sometimes he can play on the wings. But again, well, when we play a type of player like Victor Osimhen on the wings, who will be there centrally? So Victor Osimhen prefers to play centrally. That's why you're saying this is the main issue we're going to have if we're going to buy Victor Osimhen. Just like Lukaku had at Chelsea, he prefers to be more centrally, not to do much of the hard work while Jackson is doing everything. So I understand
And,
your opinion.
mhm. And in all honesty, if we're talking about him dropping deep, he's Heston. He's a good player. He's a top class striker. But in all honesty, you can put him in the same category in terms of, in most cases, he comes across as clumsy in terms of his first touch. That doesn't make him a bad player. Even Lukaku is considered a good player, even though Lukaku has a premium bad touch. If you get my point, Osimhen also sometimes can come across as clumsy, especially when you expect him to control the ball perfectly. Sometimes you look at it and say, sometimes it's actually comical. I'm not saying he's a bad player. That's besides the point here. But there are a multitude of reasons why it will be a huge risk for Chelsea to sign him. Enzo Maresca would have to change a lot to accommodate him and for him to do well. And I'm not going to stop saying that. And let's be honest here. If we really wanted him, I think he'd be at Chelsea right now. I think we knew he was just, again, him coming to Chelsea would be him being added to our squad. We already have a good squad at the time. Let's be honest, if Chelsea were serious that serious about getting that deal over the line, he'd be playing at Chelsea. That's what I believe. Okay, top of the day, Dominic, Maximilian, and Netta, nice to see you. I do hope you're doing well, and I appreciate you finding the time to join the show. Please keep dropping the likes on the stream. I know this format usually makes it difficult for people to find the like button. Just press and hold. Press and hold your screen for just about a second. You'd see the option to like, dislike, or comment on the video. Help us garner more likes. The difference is that with this format, we get a lot of views, but not a lot of likes because people, yeah, web surfers unfortunately are lazy, and I'm one of them. I have to say that. Good day to you too, Ajan Edikachi. My top target is, let's hear you. You haven't said anything. Rain, nice to see you. I appreciate you finding the time to join the show. And who haven't I said hello to? Viktor Gyökeres second is Osimhen, but Jhon Durán is good. And I heard that we're interested in signing Victor Boniface, and he's a more complete player than all those names you've mentioned. Yep, he's got the pace. He's an excellent dribbler. He has good passing range too, and he's an excellent finisher. His finishing in most cases isn't about power but finesse. So Victor Boniface is a more complete player than Victor Osimhen, in my opinion, and I think he'd be a better fit for Chelsea than Victor Osimhen. And Osimhen, can we not disregard the fact that his injury record is something to be concerned about, irrespective of whether you think he's injury prone or not. Yep, you could argue, yeah. So that would be a good buy for us. Gyokeres too much money. We'll talk about that in a bit. I think £86 million they want. Latest news and Sikak Lawrence. That's why I pay attention. We're talking about it. And Vic is saying accommodating Osimhen isn't complicated. Osimhen has dropped more assists than goals. But I know you know where I'm coming from. And look what Vic did there. He first of all hyped him up and then mentioned at Galatasaray. Oh man, I love Vic. Let's see what we have here. I love how Maresca said we don't have too much players. He said two players in each position. Then he mentioned Nkunku, Felix, Sancho afterwards. But for those players, he did place them in certain positions. For Felix, he placed him in the 10th position. Cole Palmer, he placed him in the 10th position. Nkunku placed him as number 9. Then later on added Mark Gui. Right wing, Neto, and what's his name? And Noni Mudryk. So 2 per position. Now, I don't see where we have 3. Yep, left wing was Sancho and Mihailo Mudryk. Yeah. So the only place he mentioned 3 players was the number 9 position. But Jay, let's hear your opinion. The news again that we're interested in signing Victor Osimhen. Is it necessary, really? Is it necessary? Do we need them? Even if we need a number 9, is Osimhen the profile we should be looking at? Let's hear you.
Big up, coach. Big up,
Big
Torrejo.
up, my bro.
Uh, um, um, this is a very, contrasting topic, and I think a lot of people, I think there is a split of 50-50 in opinion among a variety of fan base. Personally, I think that we definitely need a striker, be it a be it competition to Jackson, or he will straightforwardly come and replace Jackson. Both ways, we do need it, right? Because ultimately, right now it's fine. We top four is our priority, is our target. We are building something, but I think we can't be stuck here, right? If there is more growth, then I think the target is eventually to win the league and to challenge for the Champions League back to the level that we all desire. And for that, I think we need a established striker, and so I think without a doubt we do need it. There is definitely a vacancy there, but is it has it to be Osimhen? Is it like necessary that he's the guy that we need to go? I don't think so. And I have changed views I think I wanted him very badly at one point of time, but seeing the growth of Jackson, I think we can have someone, which is a more like Jackson, but which holds more experience, right? Who can play in our style, who can not be outside of it, whether he will just come and complement the whole team. And I think Osimhen, I just personally feel that he is not really the perfect fit for our side and how Maresca wants to play, and he will be something different to Jackson, which is a good thing. Don't
But do you
it
pay
is
that?
also
Let me say this quickly, Jay. So apologies, please. He's
yeah,
brings something different to Jackson,
yeah,
which could also mean that two of them cannot be starting at the same time, and we don't pay 60, not of 60 to 70 million pounds to sign Osimhen, and then he gets to play every now and then, and not on the pitch
yeah,
every week, or you can say nearly all the games. And you get my point right now, but go ahead. So
exactly.
there are a multitude
Yeah,
of reasons why it just doesn't make sense. And if you
yeah.
be
I think
hearing what we, yeah, so if we're gonna get a traditional number nine, or a player who's more of a traditional number nine, uh, that gets you could say, then you buy one that you can say go and play on the flanks, and they be comfortable playing on the flanks, and they don't have to be central, and they're capable of playing comfortably, efficiently, and consistently dropping deep, and being a creator rather than a receiver a majority of the time. So go ahead with what you were saying. So the manager's approach is important, and we're seeing it up close. I
yeah,
don't see a world where we have Osimhen in this team and the manager doesn't tweak something to accommodate him. But go ahead, Jay.
yeah. Before going, coach, is there some kind of background music going on?
From whose end?
I don't know. I think I'm listening some background music.
Ha- no, it's not. I've turned off the music and maybe it's coming from Tebeho's end, but I can't hear it.
Anyways,
No,
it's not
I'm
that
on
loud,
mute.
but
Why on me, coach? I'm on mute.
Okay, are you hearing any music?
No.
stop blaming
So
Toveo
Jay
for
is hearing
everything.
things.
The Sanchez effect is still on me. Uh,
Good.
I mean, I think you have hit the nail there. I want to discuss this point that it's always good to have a different variety in your armory, right? You have Jackson and you'll have someone traditional, typical number nine type of player who will be really stable in that in the penalty box and who will be a lethal weapon, targeting the aerial crosses and all. But you mentioned it rightly that for the fees and for the salary that Osimhen demands or any other striker that will demand, I don't think it's a risk to be taken. You can have that for 20 million maybe, and you can have different varieties. But the system that we are trying to play, and then you want to bring in such a costly striker in Osimhen who will demand fees and salary for sure higher. I don't think it is a great thing to have, sitting on the bench. You can't afford it. So I think we should really, really think what the coaching style is and what the team suits, rather than just bringing on a heavy package just because he will bring something else. I think it's too much for that price to be taken for granted. But I think he will be a good one. But I think the fees and the salary does not warrant the move. Rather, I think I'll prefer Gyokeres over him. But I'm sure Gyokeres will be really, the fees will be so high for Gyokeres, maybe even 90 or 100 million, also depending on the season that he will have. So let's hope. But we definitely need one. That's for sure.
While you're still speaking, Jay, let me give you the price tag of Gyökeres. I think. Where is it again? Why did I lose it? I think 86 million pounds is the asking price. I can't find it, but it's some north of 70 definitely. Where did I see it?
Well, 100 million euros release clause.
100 million euros. Yeah, so probably around 80 plus. I think so. I'm not quite sure. Um, let me find it for you. But Jay, at that price, let's say 70, 75. Does it make sense to go for Gyökeres?
I think Gyokeres is
More
more
of a
towards the
complete player?
style that we play. He's a more complete package. I think he will complement a lot even to Jackson and to other forwards as well. And I think he is more in my, in my wish list. I favor Gyökeres a little more than I do
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Osimhen.
The
And
correct asking the price is 85 million pounds.
yeah, and also let's not forget, all this turmoil that has happened over the summer, and he is playing a huge part of his, time in the Turkish league, I think at Galatasaray. So that will also affect his level as well. So he won't be, at the peak when he comes to the Premier League. Although this is a small factor, he can of course regain it anytime. But I think this is also something that we should consider. We don't know for sure what type of Osimhen we'll get when he arrives at Chelsea after his Galatasaray stint.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I think we all can agree, irrespective of whether you want to see him or not. If the plan is to get him so that we can mix things up, mixing things up simply means, yeah, play him in certain games and don't play him in the others. Play a more complete player in the other games. And I think Osimhen himself would want a guaranteed starting place that if week in week out he starts. I don't think he'd be content with starting this week and then next week we need a more fluid front line and he sits out on the bench. I don't
Yeah,
think he would want that too.
coach.
And I'm here's saying maybe subconsciously my preference for a more fluid approach in the attacking area is driving my argument, but I'm trying to be as objective as I can here, in all honesty, and I'm glad I'm able to make my point clear. I don't think he's a guy for
Yeah.
multitude of reasons. Paying that much money,
Uh,
he's not guaranteed to stay fit. Uh, he's not the most complete number nine. The fans would want him to score 20 plus goals, irrespective of whether Cole Palmer scores 40 and Jackson scored 10. Other people chips in 5-5, others chip in 5 each. They still would want him to replicate that form he showed at Napoli, which has led to all many Chelsea fans wanting the club to sign him. They're not going to pay attention to the manager's approach being a factor leading to him not scoring as many goals. They don't care, and that's when you start hearing them talking about his touch. He hasn't his touches, so to speak. He hasn't even joined us, and they're making comes of his bad touches at Galatasaray, not even Napoli. They followed him to Galatasaray. But that's not the reason I'm saying we shouldn't sign him. More importantly, the managers prefer that approach. I don't think he's the guy for us. But who am I? If the manager feels like he can make it work, then he's definitely joining Chelsea. I can't. Who am I to blow against the wind? Let me just end it with that. Osimhen's recruitment cannot fall under Joe Shields. That's another one too. Having watched Petrovic yesterday in French league, yeah, he was excellent. He was an excellent save from him, and Diego Morella did very well. Kudos to him too. Osimhen will thrive in a system that relies on quick transition and vertical play. Maresca's tactics often involve building up from the back and creating a space for fast space. Yeah, that's a good point, but there's more to it than that. In most cases, the scorer becomes the creator. In most cases, you can see it's balanced. Sometimes Cole Palmer will be the creator. Sometimes you expect Noni Madueke to be the creator, who is actually a much better dribbler than Osimhen. So it's not that simple, really. I get it. If you're going by a quick counter attack, then yeah, he's our man. But there's a lot more to it, and you know. So, Wycliffe Barris, thank you for that contribution. Let's go away, man. I would just say Osimhen does not fit into Mandem FC vibe. Nani won't give him in. Let's see. What else do we have here? Osimhen cannot press run. He can press. He can run. Create assist, but it's the way we play. I listen, I know you know exactly what I'm talking about. Or score more goals than Jackson. I think he's a much better finisher than Jackson. I give him that. But a lot more. There's all those other things that Jackson does very well. He cannot. Osimhen is not. He's not a good dribbler. Osimhen is more flexible than you're giving credit for. No, John. Listen, You know, I'm from Nigeria. I'm just being as objective as possible. I'm not saying he's a bad player. It's not going to work. This is already a match made in hell. If he comes and fluffs 2, 3, 4, 5 games, the fans will turn on him and not minding the approach, really. If we get top four, unless Jackson scores 25 goals, being him for Gyokeres or Osimhen. I'd rather Gyokeres, but I think if we get top four, if other people chip in and Jackson finishes with 12, 13 goals, probably he'll score a lot more. We're not gonna be that serious about getting a striker. Um, we cannot rely on Jackson. We've never relied on Jackson. We had all the chipping in goals from all this season. Noni Madueke has scored how many in total? Three. Nkunku has scored one. Cole Palmer has scored four, five. Five is it five or six? So we've never relied on Jackson. Six in total. So yeah, so we don't rely on Jackson. So that's a serious misconception right there. No, we don't. I don't even hate Jackson, but he keeps wasting chances. That's clear. That's he does everything else well, but what matters the most, he doesn't do efficiently and consistently enough. That's where the problem lies. The most important thing he doesn't do, and we're lucky we're not actually playing with an approach where we channel all our goal scoring chances through a single individual, probably will be 19th on the table right now. So that's the advantage of playing with a fluid approach where you're not relying on a single individual put away all the chances you create. It's shared. It's a balanced approach. And let's not forget, this is a Premier League, not Serie A. That's another factor to consider too. I was wondering why Osimhen never came to Chelsea. I thought Mikel would be convincing. Yeah, but let's be honest here. Mikel can convince him. Can he convince the club to pay him how much he wants? That's one thing that's important. Um, Watching us in Galatasaray may help you. I know him well enough, and I know you understand my argument. We need a top defender. RJ is always injured. What happens if Gusto gets injured? I think we'll be fine. I'm not too concerned um, uh, uh, about his absence right now. Like this, just I think they'd give him this season to see whether he recovers, or maybe it still be a case of him in and out of fitness. You should watch. No, I'm not watching him again. I've watched him enough. Um, okay, Candice Jackson is doing good in my opinion. But to win Premier League trophies, clubs need a shot chance taker to put pressure on opponents by scoring first and dominate. Look at City, they score first and dominate. That okay. That's your okay. All right. Anything else to read here? I want to get to the very bottom as soon as possible. We have Dante in the house. We don't need Osimhen. That's my opinion, but I'm not the manager. And if the club wants him, I can't stop it. If the manager agrees he can make it work, let's see it. Hidden number nine, not to be mistaken as false nine in the team, Axel the Sassi. Wow, that's a serious one. We only need a goalkeeper that is a must buy. I don't think we need a goalkeeper either. My opinion. Let's see what else we have here. Character is the most important. Osimhen is very mature. Okay. I remember when Job says, "Who needs a Messi?" When we have Kalu, there will be a day when Nani will say something similar. Who needs Osimhen when we have Jackson? Yeah, let's see where that takes us. So I'm going to scroll to the very bottom. Apologies, I can't read everything. But let's hear you, Constantine Dante. You've heard the discussion. Um, it wouldn't be bad to have a CMM. Yeah, yeah, crystal clear. Yeah, no worries, bro. Thank you so much for finding the time to join. But we got
Well
wins, right?
blessed.
Any wins? Did we get any wins right? Like the team winning in terms of who wins, right? We're in the mud. I'll still do it because usually we tell people, listen, we go by what the numbers suggest will be the most likely outcome. Yeah. But did you hear me say that doesn't mean that I'll be correct because you cannot script football? Yeah. Yeah. All
Big up,
right, bro.
guys.
We're all in the mud, like you said. But that's by the way. Let's see. We have Dante in the house. Dante, big up to you. The captain is in the house. I appreciate you for finding the time to join. I do hope you're doing well. Let's hear your thoughts on Viktor Osimhen. Do you think it'd be a good fit for the club, or do you think we even need a number nine? Whatever your opinion is, let's hear you. And if it's not Viktor Osimhen, how about Viktor Gyökeres, Victor Boniface? I think those are the two of we're looking at. Jhon Durán. I'd actually go for Jhon
No,
Durán in
yeah,
my
Duran,
opinion.
100% Duran.
Yeah. But let's hear you, Dante.
Yeah, big up, coach.
Big
Tobago,
up, bro.
Jay's gone. Everyone else in the chat, big up, everyone. Yeah, so we talk about Osimhen's back in the subject. Is he? What happened? Something happened? Sorry, I missed. I didn't. I just logged on
But
straight away.
we're looking to sign him. We're still interested in signing him.
Right. Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, definitely we are. Obviously, for the price we want him for, we're interested. So, um, I don't know what to make of it. It's such a big gap in evaluations from what he wants and what we want. So, all the drama that's behind it as well. I don't know. Obviously, we're still trying because if we can get him for the price we want, I think it would be pretty stupid not to get him if we can get him for what we offered him basically. So we'll see what happens. I have
Okay,
no idea.
beyond the price tag and
Yeah.
the salary demand,
Hmm.
we've seen Enzo Maresca's approach up close.
Yeah.
How fluid it is, liquid maybe if that's the language you prefer, and how well it has worked, irrespective
Hmm.
of who we're playing against. In terms of price tag, also before you go to the other end, do you think it makes sense to pay that much money for him? Anything north of £60 million to have him play only in a certain games? That apart, or
Mm,
given the manager's approach, will he be a good fit?
it's like you say. I think he'll be a great fit in some games, but maybe not in some games. Exactly
Yeah,
what
go
you're
ahead.
saying. Yeah.
Mhm.
So £60 million, that's not a lot these days, to be honest. You're not getting too much for that these days. So that's pretty a fair price for him. That's a little bit under probably. But with all the stuff that's happened now, he's probably affected that evaluation. So we'll see what happens. Look, he's still a good player. He's a great finisher. He'll help. He will help to have that different profile. He helps. It always helps. Now it's all down to uh, does he fit in with this group? Does he fit? Does his mentality fit in? Does his approach, is he happy to come and do that? This is the things. I don't think he is, because he's the type of guy that would want to play every game, single game, doesn't matter where, how, whatever. He wants to be the main man. So it just depends. They're gonna have to do their homework if he fits in properly with this young group. The same mentality, the same. They got to be thinking the same. I did say that's very important to a group like this, because if you bring a guy that's a little bit older, not much older, a little bit older, more matured, how is he going to react? How is he going to go? Just like I said about Sterling and some of the other ones, and they're gone now. Like I predicted, they'll be gone, and they are gone.
Mhm.
So I think, yeah, it's for the directors and everyone to do their homework. If he's going to fit in, if it's the price is not that much, £60 million, really, that's not much for a player of his quality. Um, when we're talking about world class players. I consider him as a world class player. He plays for his country. He's won.
Fine by me. My biggest concern is his
Yeah,
profile and the manager's approach,
yeah.
the contrast between the two things, the factors. Yeah, go
He's
ahead.
still a goal scorer coach, so he'll be there. He'll be there to tap in everything. He'll be there for the headers. He'll wrestle defenders. He's aggressive. He's physical. It'll still work. It will not work in all the games, but it'll work in a lot of games as well. So it's when you use him, how you use him. And we were talking about on Tobago's channel earlier about Nicholas Jackson. Okay, so because we were saying, has a good game, he has an okay game, he does really well, then he's not so well. But what else that he does is, we know he opens up the space for Palmer, he opens up the space for the wingers, he takes defenders away, he runs into space, he takes them all. He does a lot of stuff that contributes to everyone else's success. That's the player here is. Unfortunately, the finishing is not quite there yet. It'll come, hopefully. But yeah, he's a bit of a rare. Most strikers are not like like Nicholas Jackson. It's more like, obviously, like Osimhen. So it's a balance. You got to get it right. And Will he be useful? He'll be very useful, Osimhen. 100% he'll be useful. The way he plays, he's physical, he's a mentality monster. He's, goes for everything, puts his head in, his foot in everywhere. He'll get goals like that as well. It's how you use him. It is a fine balance. And that's for Maresca, the sporting directors, to decide, is he the right choice to fit in with the group mentality-wise? Does he want that? Will he oblige by that? And if he doesn't, there's no point going after him, simply. Then you can go after someone else, like you were saying, like Victor Boniface, Gyokeres, someone like that. Someone that's not to that stature of Osimhen and won't demand as much and will be comfortable playing that role. So it's a fine line between, it's a very fine line how you choose who you choose next to add to this group.
In my opinion, it's a huge risk, and I don't want a repeat of the Lukaku Chelsea situation.
It is, yes. It is a risk. Yes.
Yes. A huge risk.
100%.
Something to bear in mind. Yeah, a few things. Let me simplify it to those of us that are listening here. A few points to bear in mind. One, the manager's approach would need some adjustment to accommodate him. Two, do you pay that much money for a player of his quality and only get to use him every now and then? Three, do you think Osimhen will be content with playing every other game and not every game and not be the main player at Chelsea? Four, given the manager's approach, if the manager sticks with his approach, Osimhen is not going to be able to replicate his best form, which he showed at Napoli. There are a multitude of reasons.
There is, I agree.
Yeah, and another one you could also add to it, do you pay that much money for a player you're not quite sure will be fit all season?
That's the risk of every player. And 60 million is not much.
There are reasons to be concerned in his case.
There's positives, there's negatives. Yeah, it's a balance. That's what I mean. It's a fine balance.
So it's but in this case, I think there's a lot more risk there than the negatives. I think he will probably compound our issues and solve our problems.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying.
The way we're playing,
he needs to agree to those terms.
Yeah, if we continue the way we're playing till January, I don't think the club will persist in his pursuit. I think they'll probably forfeit his pursuit.
Pretty much. But coach, if he says he comes in, just to telling, if he comes in and says, yes, I follow those, I'm happy with that. But if I score every game, I play every game. I mean, if he performs every game, performance based, would you still take
him? And I'm seeing another factor that I'll get to that in the comment section in a bit. There are so many Victors. We should land one. Yeah, Viktor Gyökeres, Victor Boniface, and then there's one more Victor. I'm missing one more Victor. Viktor Osimhen, the main Victor actually to a lot of people. Big up to you to GFC. Go
Viktor Duran as well.
Yeah. Who?
Viktor Duran.
Yeah. Is his name Victor?
His middle name.
Just making up stuff right now, right?
His middle name is Victor.
Really? You're kidding, right?
No. No.
All right. GFC Gavin, it's in the house. Yes, people, go and check out Gavin's YouTube channel and subscribe. Let's help him get to 5,000 subscribers as soon as possible. He deserves that. He's a nice guy. Wholeheartedly. Hopefully I'll have more time to join his shows whenever he's hosting shows. And we have Emmanuel Mensah Jr. saying, Coach, something else that I haven't mentioned here, but this is a delicious point. We really don't need a striker. Let's pay attention to that. We really don't need a striker that will leave for AFCON every January. It will hurt us badly. We don't have the luxury yet to lose a player and it would start relying on that player to lose them, and for that not to be an issue. Yeah, for AFCON every January, it will hurt us badly. We therefore need a one that will stay in January and a striker that will fit our system or style of play. And let's go back a bit again. If we sign Osimhen, we have Nicholas Jackson, and there's hardly. For how long there's hardly an AFCON competition that Senegal has missed. Have missed, I don't remember any. So if we sign them, we have Nicholas Jackson. So once AFCON comes around, two of them, top African strikers, will leave for AFCON.
Let me make a counter on that. We had Drogba, we had Solomon Kalou, and then we survived. So
do we have a team? Do we have a team at the time? Do we have a much better team at the time? We have more of a unit at the time than we have now. Good argument, but let's talk about it. Tebeho, at the
Okay.
time, we'd lose an 11 and still have an excellent 11 to start. And even the Premier League will still be concerned that they're playing Chelsea, even after Drogba leaves, Kalou leaves, Mikel leaves. They still be concerned. But we don't have that luxury right now. Irrespective of what you think of Jackson, take him out, we have a problem to an extent.
We still got Nkunku. We've got cover, coach. We've got cover. We have cover. Attacking options are not. We're not short of attacking options.
Exactly.
No, but you get the point. I don't think we have the luxury to lose two strikers that throughout the season we'll start using them. They'll be one of our best players, and boom, January they'd be gone. I think we don't have the luxury now. We're still building. We're in transition. We don't have the luxury that we had at the time that Tebeho mentioned, if we're being honest. But go ahead, Tebeho, let's hear you.
Yes.
So that means, for example, let's say we sign Victor Boniface, your favorite striker, right?
The same thing, the same issue.
But okay, let me say this. Let me put you on the spot right now, as much as I like it. If you had a chance to sign Victor or Victor Boniface, what would you do? Would you say don't sign both of them for the sake of AFCON? For 1 month?
Yeah, I would say that. I will say that. Listen, I'm the sort of person I like to almost always think beyond the moment. I don't just do things for the sake of it because I get a pleasure from doing it now without thinking, okay, after doing this, what happens next? I am almost always thinking beyond now. And let's ask Dante, even though he's again, I can't trust him to support me or agree, but I'm just gonna ask him anyway. Have you ever heard me talk about the what I see as a problem at the time, having two African strikers in our squad? I think Bobby will remember, even if Dante decides to just mob me up here. Let's hear you, Dante.
Well, first of all, coach, how often is AFCON? Every 2 years, right?
Not every year. Yeah.
So it's not every year. So
but have you ever had me say that? I know you're not gonna. You wouldn't want to say something that will make me.
I can't remember right now. Unfortunately, I can't remember.
Don't talk to me
again. but coach, I agree with you. You said it several times that the reason why I don't want Viktor Osimhen again is that we're going to play AFCON, and then it might affect our club. You said it. I'll beg you on that.
Not the sole reason. I mentioned multitude of reasons. Yeah, I know Dante remembers. I know he's just joking.
Yep, I remember, coach. Look, it's fine. It's every 2 years. Look, it's not that bad. Do we have cover? We have pretty good cover, I think. Better than most other teams. We have pretty good cover. Is it ideal? No, it's not ideal because two strikers, they're both, African. It's not ideal, obviously. So that's where the balance lies. That's where the directors and the coach, they have to make that decision and tick it off if they're okay with it. That's what I'm talking about, the fine balance. So it's up to them. They need to, decide if we have enough cover. At the moment, Jackson obviously will be going because he will most likely be going to Senegal, like you say. Osimhen obviously will go. So yeah, it is a fine balance. Losing if you buy Osimhen, yeah, it is a fine balance, obviously.
And if indeed Tosin has decided to represent Nigeria, he'd be going too.
Tosin will be going as well.
But I heard there's no truth to that report that he hasn't decided on what country to represent. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, look, he's probably thinking about it because he'll be a starter most likely if he does. He probably won't start for England, that's for sure. So I think it's an easier path for him to go. Definitely Nigeria. It's easier for him. It is his nation, so there's he should definitely go if he believes in it. 100% go. But yeah, we do have a few that will lose, obviously. So it is important, to have the cover. Do we have cover there? It depends. You look, if we still have Nkunku, then there's cover there. João Felix can play there. There is players that can play in that position. We do have cover to play for that. How long is it? A month? Maybe 3 or 4
Usually
games.
Lasts a month. And again, it depends on how far
exactly how far they go. Yeah.
How far
And
they go in the
Nigeria and
competition.
Senegal usually go pretty far. So
Yeah. So
yeah,
while I sit with you, Dante, just quickly, and I'm gonna hand over if you're still here. Hopefully, your boy, um, again, someone else is taking care of him, but you don't have to.
yeah, yeah.
You're not a kid.
He's
Yeah.
been put to bed. Yeah,
Um.
yes.
So before we go to Bobby, and I'm gonna, you know what we're discussing. I'd like you to take that question to Bobby too once you're done. The question is, but I'm not leaving immediately. I still have a bit of time before I leave. Go do something quickly for 15 minutes and then come back. Now, I think it was Viktor Gyökeres for how much? For 86 million pounds. That's the asking price, and I don't think they dropped that.
Mm,
I
no.
don't think they dropped that. At one point, there were rumors suggesting it that yeah, they've dropped the price tag. It turns out it was all horse dung at the time. But let's say you Victor Gyökeres for that price, and rumors are that we're still interested in signing Jhon Durán, and it is us and West Ham United. And the kid is always at the time when we were on, I think we were on the verge of getting the deal over the line. He wanted to come to us. It didn't work
Mm,
out because Gallagher refused to go the other direction at the time, which he has every right to. So I'd rather Jhon Durán. Jhon Durán is still young. He shoots instinctively, even from outside the box, and I think he can adapt to whatever we're doing. And we have the luxury to continue playing and ease him in gradually without issues, in my opinion. We're not going to spend that much money. I don't think we'll spend anything close to 86 million pounds, which is the asking price for Viktor Gyökeres. But let's say you can hand over to Bobby once you answer that, even if I'm still here,
sure.
bro.
No problem. Yeah, look, 86 million pounds, that is a lot of money, yes, for Gyökeres. Look, he's had a one great season. He's continuing it now, the second season, so he's doing very well. Most likely going to score the most goals again in the league, probably win the league again with Sporting. They're winning with him. He's been successful. They don't really need to sell him unless someone comes in with a ridiculous offer like that, what they want. So I don't see them selling him, to be honest, unless it's that for that amount, like you say. Yeah, they need him, so they're not going to let him go without someone paying a lot of money for him. Is he a good striker? Yeah, he's a great striker. I still want to see more just this season as well, to see how he goes this season as well. But so far, so good. He's proven, everyone wrong so far. Everyone's saying he's a one-year wonder. So far, he's doing it this season as
And
well.
can I
He's
say
stepping up.
something quickly? I like to cut you off and fight you. Let's be
Yes.
honest. Since his championship days, he's been meeting you can say, acceptable numbers in terms of his performance as a striker. And in the championship, don't they have goalkeepers? Or don't they have defenders? Does he just face the goalkeeper and shoot? Why do people not respect strikers from the championship? That's one thing that
Yeah,
they're not counting it. But if you go back, even from the championship, he's performed consistently.
but
And
not the
that's our
numbers,
biggest problem.
coach.
We don't
He
seem
didn't
to
have the
be open to
numbers.
giving people chances if they're from the championship. But go ahead with what you're saying.
He didn't have those big numbers in the championship, though. He didn't have
But acceptable numbers. That was the specific language I used.
average numbers, yes, like average numbers, yes. But that's nothing. That's nothing special. That's like pretty normal, yeah. So it's nothing like he's doing like what he's been doing in Sporting. It's a big difference. His whole game around all around game has improved a lot more in Sporting as well. So he's playing in a different type of team as well. Obviously, more technical players. It's a different type of league as well. Obviously, not as strong. The Portuguese league is not as strong unless the top four teams. The rest are pretty weak. A lot of them are very small clubs. But either way, he's done it well. If you watch the games, you can see that he's a player that he can do quite a lot. He can link up, he can run, he's got speed, strength. He's got pretty much all of it. He just needs to do another season, I think. I want to see this season as well. And like I said, so far he's doing it. We'll see the whole season, or up until January at least. We'll see how he
I
goes.
think he's been so far one of the most prolific strikers this season so far.
Yeah,
Right?
that's what I mean. He's backing it up. So far, he's backing it up, and yeah, it's pretty hard to see that he probably won't the way he's going. So, um, he's doing very well. A Sporting are a very good team as well. Of course, they're pretty much the team there as well. So, yeah, look, he's a good striker. That's a lot of money. I don't think the money's. We'll probably have the money next financial window because we've done all our shopping, a lot of it. The following window, as in next the summer window, we'll probably have that spare money to go buy him because his salary won't be that high. Like, you know, he'll fit into the salary structure. So I don't see that being as a problem. If you really, really, really want him, I think we can pay that money, because we're not going to sign another, 10 new players. I see us that changing. We've got the core base. I think they're just going to slowly add quality to it, like, one or two players of quality. So then we can spend a little bit more. But yeah, we'll see how he goes this season. We'll see what he does, and we'll take it from there. But yeah, we'll perform a bit more this season.
Yeah. Before you hand over to Bobby, just quickly, people go and subscribe to Tobeho's YouTube channel. We have to help him get to 1,000 subscribers as soon as possible. He's been working hard, and he starts a new show. What's the title again? He called it Blue Coal Show.
Blue Coal.
The Blue Coal Show, excellent show where he covers Strasbourg, our sister channel in Chelsea Football Club, breaks down the performance of players for Strasbourg. And last week the last game was a good one with Morela scoring and Petrovic making some decisive saves to help him earn that point. And that was their first win against Marseille for years right now. So he keeps you updated there. Go check it out. Let's help him get to 1,000 subscribers as soon as possible. That will go a long way. And Kani saying we have the mighty Mudryk in absence of the big stars. I have cold. Ty, just go. Ty, leave me alone, but I know what you're doing there. Much love to you, brother. You know what to do. So I'm gonna leave it up to you to hand over to Bobby. You know the questions, and Tobeho hasn't actually, but you can bring Bobby in. The Tobeho will allow that. He's a senior member of the panelists, so Tobeho does. I don't have a problem with Tobeho. We can fight him backstage. We can win. But let's give Bobby the opportunity to speak about the rumors that we're looking to continue with that pursuit of Osimhen in January, and whether he prefers Jhon Durán or Duran, like you call him, or what's his name, or
put some respect on Duran's name, coach. Superstar Duran.
Viktor Gyökeres. But let me say hello to my bro here, Mika. Nice to see you, brother. I do hope you're doing well. Good morning, coach. I feel we need to discuss. To discuss trust in the process at Manchester United as well. Mr. Ten Hag needs Blues fans support to keep his job. Yeah, these things take time. They should not be in a hurry to fire the man. But that's right away. Much love to you, Michael. I appreciate you finding the time to join the show. There you go. Dante, your show now. I'll be back in a few minutes.
No problem. Bobby, you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we got you loud and clear, Bobby. You want to speak
that's
about?
good. That's good. I'm testing some new AirPods I've got, and it
nice.
seems they work even better than
Very
my
clear,
normal
actually.
way.
You sound much clearer.
Yeah,
Dante,
that's good.
just quick question for Bobby.
Yeah.
Bobby, if KDH scores on Thursday, will you be on camera?
As I've always said,
that's to happen.
There's a reason I don't go on camera. Security reasons and deeper reasons, unfortunately. I always introduce myself as somebody who cannot be on camera. Those that have actually met me at Stamford Bridge will understand why. But yeah, it's not something I would do. If KDH scores, I would just stop giving him stick. That's for sure. That would be. It's not even about scoring. That guy, if he scores, you can be sure it's either a deflection or some kind of mistake. Or I just, I am not impressed with that player at all. But let's see.
Fine, Bobby. All good, Bobby.
Let's see.
You sound good, by the way. The pods do sound really well. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
you sound very good.
Seems to be working well. Listen, I'm hearing about strikers and so on. Yeah, look, the striker situation is such a delicate conundrum. You know, everything you do, as far as that's concerned, is a gamble. Everything. Gyokeres, well, the cost it may be less of a gamble, but the issue would be, is it cost effective? And clearly at 80, what, £6 million,
Yep.
it wouldn't appear so. Then there's Jhon Durán. Okay, Jhon Durán, yeah, plausible, will fit into what we're doing, has his effects as a striker. Is he actually better than what we've got? I guess that could be debatable. But has our hesitation encouraged an inflation to his price? Because they were asking for 40 million before, and now, being with more Premier League exposure that he's getting and Champions League exposure,
And he's been scoring, Bobby. He's been scoring every game, basically.
yeah, they may get a bit greedier, depending on what length of contract he has left. But I see everybody wants to make absolute total profit, so they will most likely increase the price rather than just decrease it. Osimhen, yeah, he remains a gamble. Um, on paper and theoretically, he's a good player. I get what you're saying about the African Cup of Nations. It's a shame that the scheduling of that tournament is not in sync with the European uh, 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 Nations tournament. I'm not sure why. I can't remember why. I don't know whether it's something to do with their weather. I just have no idea. But that is a gamble in itself because you're going to lose, some key players at a key time in the month, and you don't know what condition they'll come back to you in. So it's a disadvantage for him. Apart from that, in terms of the known strikers out there, it's slim pickings. It really is. And we have to ask ourselves, do we need to dabble in a market of large uncertainty? I'm not sure we do right now. I'm not sure we do. Maybe we could last another season with Jackson and Nkunku, especially if we keep Nkunku fit. Jackson certainly has to improve. His finishing and decision making in the 18-yard box has got to get better. That's the only thing that could threaten him with a move for us to move for a striker in as early as January. If Jackson shows marked further improvement up until January, then you'll be surprised that we don't even move for a striker and hold on till the summer. It's going to be an interesting one because it's not one that I can, beat my chest and say, look, I think we should do this or do that. It's one that I really think that it's one of those decisions that the sporting directors have to earn their money, and the decision must fall on them.
And
Yeah.
then, and then Dante, I just want to add something in terms of Jhon Durán, right? As much as he's scoring now at the moment, I think if Chelsea go for him again, I think he might come to Chelsea because he's not the main man. Barkley is the main man. And he will look to Jackson and say, okay, Jackson is a good player, but he's not scoring enough to be the main man. Maybe I can challenge Jackson. So maybe I will say that in terms of Jhon Durán, because let's be honest, as much as a player you want to play for a team, as long as you're not the main man, you'll be unhappy sometimes. So that's another fact in terms of Jhon Durán.
That's a very good point. I think any striker would certainly fancy their chances competing with Jackson. Jackson does offer a lot. He does off the ball. His entire all-round game is very, very productive. It's just the finishing. Now, you can see when he's not on the pitch, and we even play Nkunku, who is leaps and bounds a better finisher. Our offensive play tends to lose something, whether it's that winning the ball or going at defenders, and we do miss him when he's not there. That's why it's such a shame that he's not added that finishing quality. If Jackson starts finishing, he'll be putting himself up there amongst the best strikers in the world. He's that good. But that's just his deficiency. So somebody like a Duran will think, okay, I'll have some of that. I can certainly compete with him when it comes to scoring goals. And maybe the all-round game. I haven't really paid much attention to that where Duran is concerned. But he's not somebody that just, he's not a goal hanger. You do see him in the play, midfield and in other parts of the pitch. So yeah, I think he would be a very strong shout for a striker for Chelsea. Should we go for him? It's just that I think our hesitation will inflate his price, which
Yeah.
is not
And
good.
Dante, before you talk, my friend, guys, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button. I just want to add something. Cole Palmer have a personal trainer. Noni Madueke have a personal trainer. What if Jackson can add a personal trainer to his game to improve more as a striker? Because let's be
He did.
honest,
He
Jackson
did.
What
is a
makes you think
fantastic
he hasn't
player.
got one?
He did Tobago. It was a
Yeah,
report of 3-4 weeks ago. He had a trainer. He had to help him work on his finishing and shooting.
I
probably
hope I
still
hope
has.
I hope so, because like you said, as much as Jackson offers a lot in terms of build up, attack and everything, his finishing should be better than this. But again,
To be
let's
honest, his
see.
finishing has been pretty good this season. So,
Yeah,
Jackson,
it's improved. It's
it's
improved. It really
improved.
has.
It's just this last game, but the rest he's done very well. His finishing was pretty good. So
I'll
I
take
think
notes.
there's an improvement there, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, guys, I keep saying this. We have the blueprints of a absolutely formidable team. We really do. If these boys stay fit and they integrate, I think that they are going to be winning the big prizes. I have no doubt about that at all. It's just we need to, as a fan base, and indeed as a club, we need to focus on the fact that, okay, we've got players in development and we need to find a way to keep winning while they develop. That's the key for us. And so far we haven't done badly in that area, but it still looks a little bit shaky. But when you compare the Chelsea project to the Man United project, you see that's the danger of when you fall out of the top echelons of football. Coming back is a battle. It really is a battle. And the Chelsea, I don't forget people like Gary Neville, Jamie Carragher, and their anti-Chelsea propaganda on the media platforms that they're given to speak their nonsense. If you compare the Chelsea project with the Man United project, in all honesty and good conscience, it's night and day. They are nowhere near what Chelsea is doing. Nowhere. They've got all these players, many on big contracts. If they don't know whether they're going to use young players today, old players tomorrow, it's all over the place, and they just want to keep blaming the manager. And I think it's a bit unfair because this is a guy that, since he's been with you, has always won a trophy. So it's got to be more about the structure than the manager. I really believe that. Ten Hag has won two trophies in 2 seasons at Man United, a trophy each season. He wasn't bad at Ajax. Okay, technically in the Premier League, you can say he's a little bit wanting, but you have to ask the question, which nobody seems to ask: just how many of those players are really his players? Just
That's the
But
key
who,
point, Bobby.
yeah, just who is actually selecting those players? I think he has not got that much to do with it. And because
nah,
the Man United propaganda is so high, nobody really wants to draw attention to that. I mean, not that I particularly care. The more they are in the doldrums,
Mhm.
the better it is for us. But that's the reality. If people really want to be truthful, they will know that the Chelsea project makes more sense, where we have a defined project, whether they want to admit it or not. They keep oh, you've got this what's that word they've now given us? Is it
Even
what's
Bella
that?
Portuguese.
No, that word they've given us for a squad. Kind of squad overload nonsense they're trying to say. It'll come
Loaded
to me
squad,
in a
yeah.
minute.
But
But they say,
again,
oh, just they're trying to say, oh, Chelsea have 50 players. Oh, they're buying all these young players. Shit, let them do it. They are onto something. No, really, they're onto something. I would rather we amass a lot of these world-class young talents, many of which we will sell for a profit, and we continue down the road we're going. We've curbed the wage bill, something astronomical. We have these youngsters on long contracts. So should any of them suddenly decide, okay, I want to leave, man, whoever's coming for them, you've got to pay big time. So,
yeah,
and they are gelling bit by bit with a new young manager. I mean, gosh, the project, I would much rather the Chelsea project, despite the pain we've had, than the Man United project all day long. I'll shut up.
yeah.
Yep.
Just to add, oh, Dante, go ahead. I didn't give you enough time, so
No,
talk
it's all
then.
right, Tobago. I'm just agreeing with Bobby. The only one thing I disagree, Ten Hag has brought in a lot of his own players, and he's paid a
Yeah,
lot of money for them, and most of them have been flops, and they're on massive salaries. So it is his doing as well. He's a problem. He's a big problem as well, actually. So yeah, I hope they keep him. That's exactly like you said, but he's been a big problem as well.
yeah,
Most of the players
yeah,
actually in the squad are his players, Bobby.
The
yeah. The
trouble is
difference,
right now. Sorry, Tobago. I'll just get
no
this
problem.
one point in because this is an interesting topic. The trouble Man United actually have right now is if they get rid of Ten Hag tomorrow, who are they going to bring in? There's nobody out there. Okay, people can say, "Oh, Thomas Tuchel, he's still without a job." You can. I don't think Tuchel will fit Man United. I really don't. You could see how Tuchel was at Bayern. He's not good with um, big institutions like that. He did well at Chelsea because he came to Chelsea, it was a closed system, a system that he could grasp and he could put this player here, put this player there. He was top dog. But even then, Tuchel is somebody after one season, if you're lucky, two seasons, the rest of the league susses him out. And I think the big mistake United make is that they keep going for big names for managers. They should have, at the time they were going for him, completed the move for Paul McKenna and
Oh yeah,
started
yeah.
with a whole plethora of,
New
of
project.
young players. But do you know what? I don't care about them. You know,
Who
I,
cares
I, I,
exactly, Bobby?
I I hate giving them good advice because I want them to continue as they're doing, but it's not tenable, and after a while it will start to implode because quite frankly they're too big a club. A club like that in the doldrums will kick up a storm. I mean, look at Chelsea past couple of seasons, all hell has let loose in the media, in the fan base, everywhere. It doesn't work with big clubs. So Man United, as much as the propaganda tries to favor them, there will come a time, and it's fast approaching, there will be unrest everywhere because
There already is.
yeah.
Yeah, one thing I just want to add: as much as Manchester United now is a funny club, with our project, what I like most is just that we are sticking to one thing: buy young kids to develop them to be world class players. I know we had Graham Potter; he was good on developing young players, but it never worked out. And then we had who's that Lampard with Pochettino just for the stopgap in order for us to get another coach who already have a good track record on developing young players, which is Enzo Maresca. The coach might get his players, but maybe one or two. But the recruitment team do most of the thing. With Manchester United, Ten Hag, I think 7 or 8 players, those are his players, to be honest. So that's my take on that, Bobby.
Yep, I agree. Yeah,
Yeah,
look, they
yeah.
are
I
his
mean,
players,
I can't
unfortunately.
argue. Yeah.
Yeah, he brought in half of the Ajax squad with him as well. So yeah, they're definitely his players. But not just that, like Anthony and all that, £80 million and 300K a week. All these players, Mount, they're all on massive salaries, and that's gonna take a while to get rid of those players. This is not, it won't be easy. This will be a long process for them. They've already
Especially
started. They look,
in
yeah,
this current football climate, where all the big clubs Europe wide are not really going for big wages.
not
You have
anymore.
to be one heck of a player to command big wages, even for somewhere like Real Madrid, that historically pay the big money, and PSG, they are not keen anymore because regulation has put paid to that. So United are in a corner. A lot of those people will have to run down their contracts considerably before they can shift them.
Yep, 100%. Yeah, look, let's hope they continue in this way, and yeah, hopefully it's a nice long time before they come back up. So yeah, we don't care too much about Manchester United. Tobago, did you speak about the Osimhen with? Sorry, because when I came, I didn't hear if you spoke about that with Coach.
Yeah, what I said about Victor Osimhen, and then coach even clarified that if we buy Victor Osimhen, we might have, I'm not saying we might have this similar situation with Manchester City, whereby we are creating chances for Victor Osimhen, we forget about other players. For example, Manchester City now, Haaland, if he doesn't score or is marked, they struggle to score goals. So with Victor Osimhen, we will do the same thing because he will be our talisman. That means if he doesn't produce, some players might struggle. So as much as we want Victor Osimhen, I think we must think more about the team rather than the individual. So that was my take. But we'll never know. If he comes to Chelsea, he might change or be versatile. We'll never know.
Tobago, sorry to cut in, but this is another very interesting topic, and I completely agree. The thing about this, and why I always say, this is one for the sporting directors to earn their money, but also the coach. He has to be a part of this
Spot on.
because
Yep.
he has to tell us whether this is going to be something that would either disrupt his team or work with his team. It is a huge decision to bring in a striker at this point, especially when the somewhat strikers that we have are not really doing anything wrong and are showing a a a a predication to actually be good enough, if you get what I'm saying. So it's got to be a joint decision between the sporting directors and the coach. If suddenly we see Victor Osimhen in January, I will just fold my arms and say, okay, we got to trust that these guys know what they're doing. Do you know what I'm saying? Because everything you've just said, Tobago, is very valid. It could completely disorientate how we're playing, and we're beginning to form some cohesion. Do we need that right now? I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I agree, Bobby. I made the same similar point. It's down to the coach and the directors to do their homework and make sure he fits into the team philosophy, the way of playing, to make him fit in. If they think they can do that, then I'm okay with it. If there's doubt and there's it's a fight, like I was saying, it's a very fine balance. It's you don't know if it's going to work or not. But if they're confident and they think he can work, well, I'll trust them because so far they've done a pretty good job. If not, then yeah, he's not the guy for us. So you just move on. They have to look at whoever else is on that list, whoever it may be. We don't know exactly who's on that list. We have an idea, but we don't know 100% for sure exactly who else is on that list. We said maybe Duran, Gyokeres, Victor Boniface, a few of those players, but yeah, it's it's still up in the air to see which actual striker. They might have some surprise up in like they had Meridian. They had that up the sleeve. Meridian came out of nowhere. Neto came out of nowhere, really, to be honest.
Mm.
Duran came out of nowhere. We didn't really know Duran. He came out of nowhere. So there's a few. Yeah, there could be someone else we don't know about yet. But it all depends up until January. It all depends what Jackson does, what Nkunku does. If they're both firing and there's no problems, everything's good, we're in a good position,
But
then we continue, I think, with that.
yeah, just to add on that, to be honest, as a Chelsea fan right now, this is my own opinion. I don't want to say we. Personally, I think we should not sign any player, even on January, unless it's an emergency signing. Because now you can see the players have a good harmony amongst them. So why add a problem to what we have at the moment? Let's say, for example, Jackson is having fun, having a good relationship with Cole Palmer, Noni, and Sancho, and then we add Victor Osimhen. What will happen to the harmony? What if Victor Osimhen comes to Chelsea in January and then we don't have the same harmony we are having at the moment? So I will say, don't add a player right now until end of the season. Let's assess everything until end of the season.
Yeah, like you said, Tabo, it depends how it goes. What if Jackson gets an injury, seasoning an injury, God forbid, or Nkunku? Then you kind of need someone. You have to. You have no choice. Like you say, emergency, but it is a need because yeah, if one of them goes down or something happens, it is a need. Or say they're both not doing well at all, not scoring, or one of them's completely bad, or you really do need to have someone. But I come back to that, like what Bobby said. The sporting directors, the coach, they have to do their homework. They have to, if they really want Osimhen, they have to look into his background. They have to look into his how he carries himself, what he does, the culture, to fit into that culture with those young players, to bring so the harmony is correct. Because if one of them's completely different, a bit off, it won't work. It doesn't matter. So that's a very important aspect, in my opinion, as well, that they need to really look into. And that comes down again to the salary.
I have to log out. I hope you guys can get me back in because my connection is getting a bit weird.
Yeah, you're in.
Um,
We can hear you. You're all good.
yeah, but
Okay, no.
it's me hearing you. There's some weird background music, and I don't know what that's about, to be honest.
I
I've
can't
had
hear
that
any music.
before, and when I logged out and I logged back in, it cleared.
I
There's
think
some
that's Coach
act.
probably listening to music and relaxing while we talk, and he does nothing. He's got his feet up, listening to some music, taking it easy.
I have to. It's highly distracting. It really
Yeah,
is.
just log out and come back in, Bobby.
Sure.
Yeah, I think coach will elevate again. So Dante, my question to you and the chat: How are you impressed? How far are you impressed with Enzo Maresca? I'm not saying, let's say, I know we have to assess the team after 10 or 20 games, but so far, how impressed with Enzo Maresca as a coach now?
Yeah, look, I was impressed before he joined Chelsea. I know a lot of people weren't because he's a championship manager and he hasn't come from anywhere special, hasn't done. I looked into his background, I looked into the coaching style, I looked where he's worked, what he's done, his philosophy, and what this young team needs. And Maresca was the type of coach that we need for a young team. He's a micromanager. He manages every single player. He takes his time with them. He likes to develop the players, and he likes to work with young players a lot. So I think, yeah, he's done exceptionally well. It's still obviously there's still a bit of a learning curve there. There's still a few things that are not quite there, but that's going to take a little bit longer. But the early signs are good. I mean, I knew he was going to do pretty good. Like I said, when you look at it, just I'm coming from a background playing the game, being there, knowing a bit about it. I can see that's the type of manager. I keep coming back to this. People kept saying that, he's a championship manager, blah blah blah, because he worked against under Pep Guardiola. That doesn't mean anything. Well, it does mean a lot, actually. It's a big deal, actually, because the assistant coaches are the ones that do all the work, most of the work at the top level. They're the ones that were with the players every day. They're the ones that talk to the players, interact with the players, schedule the play. Absolutely, they do pretty much everything. The managers at the top level, they're not that involved, not anymore. They just sort of oversee everything. have a chat here and there and now, a little bit on the training, but not even on the training field that much anymore, to be honest. It's all done by the assistants. So I thought that was what we needed for this young team. We needed a coach like that. That's like a micromanager, like I said. He looks at everything. He knows the players well. He already knew some of the players pretty well. He's scouted our squad. He was very impressed. He knew everything about the players. And he's an up and coming coach. And these players are most of them up and coming. Not all of them, but there's a lot of them that are up and coming still. A lot of them. So I think it was a good match. Were there better candidates? Maybe there was a couple, but it doesn't matter. He was in sort of in that top three candidates. So I didn't mind. I think he's going to suit the style and what the players needed. They needed this type of coaching, and you can see that he's straightforward. He's straight to the point. He doesn't muck around. He's very straightforward. Says it as he is, and he wants to do it his way. So they don't have the players don't have a free leash to do what they want. There's consequences, and yeah, you can see that already. I think I can see the difference. I see how the way they're playing. Like I said, a couple of improvements probably need to still be made defensively a little bit. The balance there in defense, midfield's pretty good, not bad. The forwards are very good. Obviously, we got plenty of talent in the front forward line. We should be scoring every game, to be honest, with that so much talent in the front line. Yeah, just probably defensively and keeping possession of the ball a little bit more is probably where he needs to work on it. And he said that in the presses and in the interviews, really. That's what he's trying to work with quite a lot. Trying to keep that possession when we're up, especially when we're up, to control the game and not give the opposition much game time, basically ball time. So they don't have the ball much. If they don't have the ball much, they can't score. They can't do anything with it. So that's what he's working at the moment. But I'm very happy overall. I think he's done a great job. It wasn't easy to come in after what happened and what's happening at the club, and he's just gone ahead and done everything I thought he would do. And yeah, he's got a big 2 thumbs up from me so far.
And another thing to add on that, what I remember during the preseason we didn't play that well, especially other games, and we lost. We conceded so many goals. You know the reaction from our fan base, saying, "Oh, another coach that will flop," and we were just looking at them. Okay, it's fine. Remember, preseason is all about experimenting. It's all about tactics. It's all about understanding your players. So most
He
of
said
people
that.
are
That's what he did. Yeah.
they judged him through from the preseason, and then they thought, "Oh, we're going to have another preseason." I was like, "Okay, we wait and see." So I'm glad now is proving people wrong. And after the international break, we're going to have 4 fantastic fixtures, big games: Liverpool, Newcastle, United, Arsenal. Oh man, I'm loving that. Hopefully we win. Hopefully we win three out of 4. Hopefully, just my goal. I want us to win 3 out of 4. But it won't be easy. Let's see.
Yeah, that's the big test coming up. There's a run of games, like you said. There's a bit of a test coming up to see those, especially playing in midweek as well in Conference League. And yeah, there's a lot of distractions as well. A lot of games coming, so that'll be a big test. The good thing is, it looks like he's changing quite a lot. Basically, nearly the whole 11 is changing for the cup. So it shouldn't affect the first team that much. So they'll still be playing most of them together. So I'm okay with that. That's what I actually wanted from the Conference League. In that, I didn't want to see a half really good team and they're playing during the week and then they're playing in. I wanted to see, just give the youngsters a go and give the guys that are not playing at all, give them the game time. Basically, change 10, 11 changes. I'm happy with that. I don't mind at all. That's how I think we should go ahead and that competition. Yeah, if we get far enough, maybe that's a little bit different. If we get further on, quarterfinal, semis, final, whatever. But I think we should definitely play the players there exactly what he's doing. Really turn the squad over and give him a go, give everyone a go. So I'm happy the way he's doing that. Yeah, look, I'm all good. These games, like you said, 4 games will be very. You're expecting 3 wins out of 4. That's very optimistic, Tobago. So I just don't want us to lose any of those games. I don't mind a couple of draws as long as we don't lose those games. I think that's very important. just to keep the momentum going and not actually lose. I think we've got goals in us. It's just about sorting out, like I keep saying, the defense and the ball possession, especially against those teams, especially against the Liverpool, Newcastle, Man United. Sorry, Man United probably not. Newcastle definitely, Liverpool definitely. You want to try to keep the ball away from them as much as possible because they will hurt you if they have the ball more than you. So, I'm sure he's going to be working on that. That's something he's looking into because he's said it quite a few times the last couple of presses and interviews. That's a very important aspect that he's looking at.
Yeah, in terms of those 4 fixtures, I think Liverpool and Newcastle and Liverpool and Arsenal games, I think for me they're more tougher. Newcastle, yes, I know it's a good club, but I think we can go toe to toe with them and beat them. Also Manchester United. But in terms of Liverpool now, you can see now the new coach, Arne Lodge, seems like he already found a new structure that is working for him. So hopefully we can manage their intensity and win that game. With Arsenal, defensively they are so solid. But again, if Raya's not available, I know we're going to score goals because against Leicester City, they considered 2 goals. So I'll hold on that. But now, let's talk about this guy behind me, Cole Palmer. A lot of people said Cole Palmer won't replicate the season that he had at Chelsea last summer. Now it seems like it's getting better. So, do you think he will push us to go to the Champions League this season?
If he keeps playing the way he is, I think that's definitely 100%. Yeah. I mean, at the start of the season, I had us finishing fourth. That's where I sort of see us finishing at that fourth spot. I think we can cement that fourth spot, and I think that should be ours. That fourth spot, which will obviously pretty much guarantee us Champions League football. So that's what I predicted. Hopefully that goes well. But yeah, look, he had a little bit of a slower start to the season, but he was still involved, getting assists and stuff. But obviously, last game just clicked in, no problem. And I going to happen, especially to Brighton that are very open, sort of a high line. They like to be aggressive, and yeah, that's just not going to work against Chelsea. Any team that's going to play against us to play like that, it's just not going to work. Got too many attacking players to destroy that system. So I knew he'll probably do well, and he did very well. Obviously, in that game, exceeded expectations. Yeah, look, it'll be interesting to see. He is. I did say at the start of the season, other teams will look at him more. They'll try to mark him out, and they try to take him out of the game because he is the main man. He is the star of Chelsea at the moment, and they will look to get him out, take him out of the game. Uh, like I said, he had a couple of games that was okay, not too bad. They put a defender there on him as well. They tried to take him out, and it was successful, but we still got the results. So it wasn't too bad. But I think he'll continue going. He'll continue. He's playing in a position. If he can continue playing behind Jackson there in that position, we got the 2 wingers. He's playing in a position that's very pivotal. That's always involved going forward. Yeah, so he's always going to be involved in. I say 60-70% of the time he'll be involved in a goal, either assist or scoring a goal. He's playing in that position where, you have everything has to go through him pretty much there. Most of the goals will come from those positions. So I think he'll probably do very similar to what he did last season. Will he get more? I don't know. It depends. The long season, we'll have to wait and see. But I think it'll be pretty similar numbers. Maybe a little bit less just because in some games he might get completely marked out, then just might go really hard on him and just completely take him out of the game. But the good thing about this season, we do have then other players now that can take over. Like I said, Jackson is getting a little bit better. I think his finishing has improved a little bit. Obviously, we've got Sancho, we've got Felix, we've got Neto now. We've got 3 other new players there that weren't there that can really make a big difference as well to come on, especially in that position. Can play there. Obviously, Felix can play in his position. Palmer can be moved to the right wing against low block teams. I think he's very well suited to that right wing when we play low block teams. I want him to play on that right wing to cut in. That's where I would like to see him. I was saying when we played against, say, Bournemouth and some of these other teams, when Mudryk started and Sancho started, it's hard against those low block teams for those type of wingers to do well. But if you have a Cole Palmer there that comes in a lot and is more central from that right wing and just his game style. He doesn't just run at defenders. He's a dribbler. He's more of a technical player. It's going to make a big difference. And now we've got Nkunku who can play there in behind. We've got Felix. He's a more technical. So now you've got options for technical players that can play against low blocks, not just wingers, out and out wingers like we had last season. It was a bit hard last season. You put Sterling in, well, he's an out and out winger. He's not going to do well against low blocks. You put Mudryk in, same thing. Madueke, really the same thing. We didn't have those technical players to play in behind. Now we do. So yeah, I think he'll be very effective as well there. So I think he'll probably get the same. At the start of the season, I said probably just under, just a little bit, just because they might completely mark him out in some games. And at the start of the season, it was a little bit of that, but he's found a lot of space recently again, and he's coming good again. So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I agree with you. And then Prince says, Kudus, the manager, he has tremendously well. He actually deserves a lot of praise because by this time last season, it was already awful matches. As
Yeah.
fans of Chelsea Football Club, we should enjoy this period. I agree with you. Chelsea fans now should sleep peacefully after last season. And a follow up, he says, as it is now, my only concern is Madueke's selfishness keep me worried, and I believe with time he gonna improve. Hopefully so. Like I even told Dante the same thing, that Noni Madueke needs to do more as a player, because sometimes if you be selfish, you need to score that goal. So don't be selfish and miss. That's my own opinion. If you be selfish, you score a goal, cool, no problem. But if you be selfish and not score the goal, and we lose that game, I'll be pissed. So hopefully Noni can be a team player, just like Jackson, because he offered Cole Palmer a lot of assists. Look at Cole Palmer against Brighton. Oh my gosh, how many passes did he pass to Nicholas Jackson? Oh, this kid is so special. But again, you're not here to talk about Cole Palmer also. So, what about in Sancho? Because it is at the time Chelsea were linked to Sancho, was not sure about this signing, but it seems like it's proving us wrong. So, are you happy about Sancho so far?
Yeah, look, Sancho, I wasn't that excited either looking at him, but that was mostly because of the price and his salary. But we know that's not the case. So for the price and what he's on, it was definitely worth a gamble, 100%. It just gives us extra depth. And hey, we just saw him. If I didn't see him at Dortmund, what he did with Dortmund when he went back, I knew then there was a problem. But he went to Dortmund and he balled out at Dortmund. So I knew it was not just Manchester United. It's not a Manchester United problem. It's not a Ten Hag problem. Sorry, it is just a Ten Hag problem and a Man United problem. It's not him, exactly just him. It's not only him. So yeah, that gave me. I'm like, yeah. Once I saw him play for Dortmund and do that well, let's be honest, he did very well. He got him to the Champions League final. He did very well. Once I saw that, I knew that then, and for the price we were getting him and everything, and he does love London, he does like Chelsea as well. Let's not forget that. And he's got a lot of friends in this Chelsea squad as well. Again, one of those players that fits in with what we have very well. They're all very good friends already. They're the same age, the culture, they all fit in very well. And we saw that straight away, basically. After games and before games, how they in interviews, how they interact already. They already know each other so well. So that was a big bonus. I had a little bit of doubt at the start, but it's a big bonus. So he's done well. He's done very well. He's just another one to add to that attacking arsenal that we have that we can bring on or start depending on the games. And so far, he's done very well. He's been pretty solid. He's did very well. Only that game, like I said, against Bournemouth, I think it was when they were really low blocking and he and Madueke started. They struggled a bit because there was no room. But then, once we brought in the players that can make room, like I said, you bring Felix on and these more technical players, then that changes. So we've got all those options now. So just to add him, I think, after looking at it now, it's a big bonus, it's a big plus.
Yeah, I agree with you. Enzo Maresca is the luckiest coach ever, because Chelsea already have so much talent too. He can use, he can rotate, he can do whatever he wants. And now
Well,
we have
yeah,
Kim.
Maresca was pivotal in him getting him, I think, as well. From what they said, he
Yeah,
talked to him, he spoke to him, and he wanted him as well. So that's another plus for Maresca as well. He saw and he identified a player that he thinks will fit the club perfectly. And so far, look, we got him very cheap. Let's be honest. If it will convert, the 25 million pounds will convert next season. It's not even this season. So he's for
yeah,
free so far. It's just salary, but next season will be 25 million pounds. That's peanuts for a player of his quality. Like that just doesn't happen. So we got a steal, and yeah, we like I said, the big plus for Maresca because he's the one that identified it and wanted him. I think he was pushing for him because he knew him very well as well, of course. So yeah, so that's another big plus for Maresca as well.
yeah. I agree with you. And then I think Enzo Maresca was not happy with Mikhailo Mudryk's performance. He couldn't trust him for the rest of the season, so he had to add another winger. Same as Raheem Sterling, he didn't trust him. We had to add Pedro Neto just to play both flanks, but also challenge Noni Madueke. And we have Kim So on the Chelsea, says Chelsea's back. Now we are not back yet. And then Prince
Not
says,
quite yet, Kim So, but yeah, on the way.
yeah, we are getting there. Prince says, as a winger, your primary assignment is to assist a striker. Madueke should understand this, or else Astafa William is on his way coming, and that would put an end to Noni's career as a Chelsea player. Wow.
Interesting. Yeah. Deep
Yeah,
Prince going
very
hard on Noni there.
interesting.
I'll just comment about Noni. Let's talk about Noni for a second. So we had a bit of a chat about this. I've been looking at him.
Yeah.
So he started the season very well. He started pretty well. Did pretty good. The last 3 games, he's been pretty below average. He hasn't played well at all. I personally think that's probably it for him. He's probably lost his starting position because of that. Because we've got Neto, Sancho could play on the right. I mean, he played there for Dortmund, so he can play on the right as well, no problem. So we've got options now. I think he's in a bit of trouble at the moment, which is good. That's what you want. You want him to get pushed. We don't want to see Madueke playing 6, 7 games, 8 in a row, having a bad game every game like we saw last season. Our ex would not change players. He'll just continue playing them. Doesn't matter what. And we lost a lot of points because of that. So I'm expecting Maresca, the type of coach he is, to make that change now, and it'll be there for Noni to basically win his spot back after that. So we'll see how he goes. But yeah, like D Prince says there, he's a winger. He's to take on players. I mean, he can be selfish as well. You have to be selfish at that level. If you're not selfish, you don't belong there. You have to have a bit of selfishness as well to score goals, and the goals he scored. There's got to be there's got to be a balance there. So you got to assist when you need to assist, and you score when you get chances. You shoot, and he does that quite a lot. And I've actually been very impressed by him because last season I kept saying he hasn't got a right foot, and that was it. The play once everyone knew he hasn't got a right foot, he would cut in on his left every time. He'll shoot on his left. It's very easy to defend. The defenders pick. It's at that level. The defensive. They scout games. It's very easy to nullify. Not no matter way. Okay, he started the season playing shooting with his right, not cutting in anymore. So he's worked on his game. We know that he got a coach to help him off season as well. So he's improved, which is great to see. And he scored a couple of goals. We saw the hat trick he scored with the right foot, and he completely got surprised the defenders. They're all going there right, and not because they were expecting him to cut back, and he shot with his right foot. So I was very happy to see that. I'm like, finally, yes, now you're almost complete winger. You've got the left foot, you got the right foot. All you need to have is the assists. That's the other step, and that's exactly where we are now. He needs to not be as selfish in those moments, get his head up, and go for the easier option, which was the assist we saw on the weekend. He needs to pass those balls because they would have been goals, and they were pretty easy passes in my opinion for a professional player. They weren't hard passes, but he already had his mind made up. He didn't even look. He didn't bother. He was always gonna, and yeah, he got completely shut out of the game most of the game again. So, like I said, that's 3 games in a row now where he's been a bit too selfish, and yeah. So we'll see what happens. I think he should lose his spot, and I think probably Neto can start there, or Sancho can start there as well, obviously. So that's up to the coach. But yeah, what do you think of Madueke, Tobago?
Yeah, I agree with you. Noni should do better as a player because I think the Sancho offside goal, Noni did brilliantly there. He should have done the same thing. When he was, I think it was sort of a one-on-one, and he cut back, and then Enzo was there and other players were there, but he decided to shoot and he didn't score. So overall, I think Noni as a player should do better. But again, also in terms of defense and everything, is he offer more. That's why maybe Enzo Maresca like him. But if let's say Petro Neto on Thursday, he scored 2 goals or a hat trick, will give Enzo Maresca a headache because that means he's pushing Enzo Maresca to drop Noni and play Petro Neto in the Premier League. So it's a it's a headache for the coach. But as we said, we need to be he need to be consistent because now Sancho is adding assists to his game. Now he need to add more goals. He need to add goals. He'll be fine. Jackson, he didn't have a good game, but he added an assist. Cole Palmer is Cole Palmer. You know what he can offer us. So hopefully Noni can stay with the team.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, look, he's just, and you think he would know by now that, and he does know because I can see I've seen Maresca yell at him plenty of times on the sideline that he's dribbling a bit too much or taking too many touches. I've seen that, and Maresca's he's probably had a word with him. So I don't know how far he's given him. He's given him. Look, he had a bad game. That's fine. Everyone can have a bad game. You have 2 bad games. Yeah, okay. I'll trust you. I'll give you another third game, and now he's had another third bad game. So I think that's probably it. I think he needs to. I personally would take him out and put Neto there or Sancho. It doesn't matter. Just to push him to get better and to find his and to get back into there because that you don't want players to get comfortable, but Maresca's not that type. That's why I have so much confidence in Maresca. He's not that type. He's the type of guy that would make that change now. We've seen that with Mudryk. He gave Mudryk 3 games in a row, wasn't doing it. We haven't seen him since. He took him out, probably training with him, working more on in training. He's gonna work on him, and I expect the same really for Madueke now at the 3rd game in a row. We've just got too many quality players there not to put someone else in that can play that position, and that will do well. But yeah, like I said, Noni's still growing. He's still young. He's getting better. He improved a lot with the right foot. So I was so happy to see that. I'm like, yep, you're getting there now. You're getting it. You need that right foot. So he got it. He's got that now as well. Like I said, assist now. He's got to be less selfish, and especially a team because they're all such good friends as well. And that can also be a good thing, but that can also be a little bit of a bad thing either. Because when you're good friends like that, you can say, oh, like, yeah, come on, like, I just, it's it that's up to the coach. That's to pull him out and sub him off and take him and change it. And he did sub him off, like he's been doing that. But I mean, the next step is 3 games in a row. I think the next step is um, you kind of lost that starting spot in the first 11 in the Premier League. I'm talking about. Of course, we still got plenty of games to play, Conference League and other cup games, but I think he needs to make that move now before it's because what that does then that sets a precedence for other players. Yeah, so you don't want that. You don't want players going 3-4 games playing really bad and then and then him changing and oh well, I want someone having 1 or 2 bad games and go, well, he got 3-4 games bad games. And so you want to be consistent. That's important as a coach to keep that consistency because that the players look at those things. Trust me, they look at those things. They pay attention, especially at the higher levels. They pay attention to those little things like that. It's very, very important. So that's Maresca's job to keep everyone happy.
Yeah, I agree with you. And then football master says, "Can I join call?" If you want to join, ask. You can go to X and DM Coachella. But again, you already have restrictions and rules. You need to be on camera when you join. But again, if you have X, go and ask Coachella on his X
Yeah, I'm not sure
account.
if I've seen Football Master here before too much. So I'm not sure who he is. So yeah, we'll need it's not that simple. Sorry, football master. Yeah, we need to speak to Chelsea perspective. Send him a
Yeah.
private message, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, and then Jay says, I want that Sancho goal ASAP. I agree, bro. I was so happy when he scored that goal, but it was so slightly offside. Noni Madueke was so slightly offside. But
Yeah,
I
even
think
with that
goal
one,
was
so
like,
but that was his fault though, because he made a run first, then he had to stop, pull back, and that's why he was offside. So that was his mistake, to be honest. Yeah,
yeah, I
it's
agree with
it was
you.
not his mistake, that one as well. I'm being harsh. Yeah, I'm being harsh because I have high standards because that's just how I look at those players. You got to have high standards for some of these players. It was his fault. If he didn't do that starter step, he went way too early. He had to come back, and he would have been onside, no problem. Easily he would have gone through. So that was his fault actually as well. Yeah. So that's what I mean. We were talking a bit earlier about football IQ. Football IQ is very important. You got to have that IQ to see things, to think on the moment. You can have all the technical ability. It doesn't matter what. If you don't have the IQ, you're not going to be successful. And yeah, we did talk about that on your show a little bit earlier about that Tobago as well. But yeah, they're all growing together. So hopefully everyone's going in the right direction. I'm confident we're going in the right direction. Maresca's the right man. We've got a great bunch of players. We'll see who make it till the end of the season and who doesn't. I think back to Noni, he's one of those I think that could be moved on at the end of the season if it doesn't work out. He's one of those on the fringe that could be moved out. One for profit, two for just because there's other better players around. And the other big important is because we have players coming into that position. Uh, namely, Esteval Willian is coming into that position. Kendry Paez is coming in to that attacking midfield, but he can play on the right or left, doesn't really matter as well. So we've got a healthy competition. I can say probably the healthiest competition in probably the whole Premier League up front.
Yeah, I agree with you. So, let's talk about Gang for a little bit before we wrap it up. So, what kind of changes would you like against Gang? Because I don't think we're going to play Casaday against Gang, to be honest, because Gang is not Barrow. Maybe we might play Enzo, start Enzo Caicedo,
Yeah.
because Lavia is not playing in that competition. So, what kind of changes would you like to see?
Yeah, look, Ghent is not that bad of a team. They're pretty good in the Belgian league. They're not a bad team. Yeah, definitely much better than Barrow, of course. No disrespect to Barrow, but they just are. They've got much better, players as well. Yeah, look, I think we'll still see a very changed team. I don't think we'll see, just like the first game, I don't think we'll see many players that in the Premier League they'll play. I think it'll be maybe one or two, just just to have that solidarity, maybe in that some key positions, like you say, maybe maybe an Enzo there. But let's not. Romeo Lavia is back now. He's back, yeah. So I think it could be Romeo Lavia, then, in my opinion. I think he'll need that. It's good to give him that game time, and I think Romeo Lavia will definitely play in this game. It
No,
might
Lavia
be a
is
little
not
bit
there.
early back.
Actually,
What do you?
we didn't register Lavia there. Lavia, Fofana, and Kolpam, I think they are not playing in that competition.
Oh, so Lavia is
So
not registered for that one.
yes, we because the report said that we are going to protect Lavia due to
Oh,
injuries,
okay.
also with Fofana. So
Yeah,
those three
I
players.
thought it was only Palmer and Fofana. I didn't know about Lavia. I wasn't. I'm not. Can't remember Lavia. I thought it was Palmer and Fofana. Yeah, those two. But I can't remember Lavia.
Oh, okay. I'll just check the reports, but I think Lavia is
Yeah.
not there also.
Okay. Yeah. So if he's not there, then yeah, I think. Well, there's not too many options, is there? Then we did see a surprise against Barrow, like you said. We saw Cassidy playing as the defensive midfielder, but I think you'll probably see Vega probably playing. Could be playing there as one of the two. Um, or you might see Ben Chilwell get another chance. Might be used at the left back. Might be. We'll have to wait and see. But I still think Vega will start over Chilwell. So I think Vega will probably still get his start over him. But you'll probably see Chilwell coming on as a substitution, I think, most likely. Like I said, I would want us, just in my personal opinion, to use this competition for our youth. I would even like to see Tyreek George given a go to actually start. I would like to see Achapong maybe given a go and start in some of these games, especially at home. Because at home, a lot of these teams struggle at Stamford Bridge. It's a very hard place to play. Small pitch, crowd very close by. A lot of these teams completely struggle on the English pitches. They're very different. So at home, I wouldn't mind seeing some of these youngsters given a go. These guys in the academy that are doing really, really well. I wouldn't mind at all to see them start. Or you can start with a little bit better and then bring them on as well. But I just would want to see a start. It's a bit different when they're actually starting. It gives them more confidence. It's a different game at the start if they come on when it's 3-0 up or 2-0 up, or it's a completely different game. It's not the same anymore. You won't see the same as you would if they start the game. So I would want to see some of these youngsters given a go. Guy up front. I think Guy probably couldn't start up front. No problem. I don't mind him starting up front. Being at home, though, might actually probably be in Nkunku. I think that will start because we are at home. So there's no travel or anything like that. Away, probably Guy can start away and stuff like that. But yeah, Nkunku can be the one that can start. Guy, I don't mind starting either. Like I said, Tyreek George, Mudryk can start, obviously. Out of Neto, Felix probably can start. If we want better players to start, we can put Felix in the Palmer position. I think that's his best position there. He should play in that Palmer position. That suits him perfectly. We saw that against Barrow, so you saw what he did, the passes and the flicks and so he'll suit that perfect position in that Palmer role, that an attacking 8/10, whatever you want to call it. A bit of because we're at home, you can probably play a little bit of a mix, not just more youngsters, not as weak like we did against Barrow. Probably like 2 or 3 players that are really good quality can play in the game just to make sure. But there'll still be, I reckon, 8 changes minimum. I think there'll be 8 changes minimum still.
Yeah, I agree with you, Dante. I think will be 8 or less changes, because as much as we want a new starting 11, this is another competition, and then we should start strongly. Let's say in the first half we lead by 2 to 3 goals. I think maybe we can play just like players like Joshua Chimpong, maybe Terek George. So I think Misha will start, and then I think he might play Disasi as a right back. As much as we don't like it, I think he might play Disasi as a right back. Viega invading in the midfield, maybe along
Correct.
Enzo or Moses Caicedo. It all depends. So we'll wait and see what will happen. But before we wrap it up, so anything you want to add before we go?
No, we've pretty much covered absolutely everything, I think. I don't think we've missed anything. If there's anything on your mind, let me know. Be happy with everything we've covered.
Nah, I don't think we missed anything. We talked about the striker situation. Now we talk about Enzo Maresca, Noni, Sancho. I know you didn't talk about Sanchez, but again,
Sanchez, the
hopefully,
goalkeeping, but there's not much to talk about, to be honest. We know what he is, what he did. Unfortunately, I think he'll still get the start. He'll still be the number 1, but I think he's on thin ice. It's like I was saying most of the time. It's only a matter of time with him until he actually does it again. He's been doing it in every game nearly, even though he's been very, very good. He's still been doing that odd pass or that odd mistake in every game. It just wasn't punished. But this game, he got punished really bad. So luckily, it didn't cost us any points. I think and we won. So I think that's good to see him get another chance because of it. I think Maresca will still stick with him. But I think if he does again and another goal comes from his mistake, and especially Jorgensen, he will start in Europe most likely. And if he does well in that game as well, especially, then I think he's on thin ice.
yeah. And Jam Pod says entertainment says Cole Palmer is EPL miss. Nah. Nah, let's chill, bro. Let's chill.
Not quite. Not
Yes, and
quite.
and it is Chelsea's back. Oh man, you're not there yet. We are getting there. So, guys, thank you so much for watching the show. We really appreciate it. Before you leave, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the like button. See you in the next stream, guys. Coach, it's on you now. Thank you, Coach, for letting us host the show. We appreciate it.
You can put your feet down now, coach. Stop, stop relaxing. Come and close the show, please. Big up, guys, everyone.
Big
Take
up,
care.
big up, bro. Take care.